Hi everyone, welcome back to the Divine Healing with Love experience. Welcome back to the capital LOVE tribe. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, thank you for being here, thank you for tuning in, for healing, for loving yourself, for honoring yourself, for nurturing yourself. Thank you for being patient with yourself, for coming into balance, for healing, for being mindful, present. Thank you. My name is Nicole. I'm so grateful and honored to be here with you, to connect with you, to just help you in any way on your journey. It's truly an honor and pleasure to serve you. Thank you so much. Eternally grateful for you. Thank you. So, I just filmed another video for the global channeling, and this is going to kind of be like global channeling again. I was talking about children in the other video, and then it just went into a totally different direction. But I have a bit of this video is going to be more so about like the deeper spiritual understanding of bringing children here on the Earthside. I've said this before, and I'm just, going to mention it again because some people may be new here. Part of my mission is to love, guide, and protect children. Of course, I'm here for everyone, but specifically, I have a very specific gift with children, working with children. I used to be a teacher. I was an educator for 15 years. I love children. I adore children. I have 2 daughters of my own. And, I don't play about children. I don't play about kids. I don't play about my own kids, but I don't play about kids. Children, their well-being, protecting them. I don't play when it comes to that. So I'm very in tune with the spiritual realm because of my psychic abilities and just the understanding of children and what children mean and like what children represent and what they mean to not just the earth but the universe. That energy, because that's the energy of innocence. It's an energy of that curiosity, that youthful spirit, that energy that changes literally the vibration of the earth because it's so pure, it's so connected to source. So when a woman is pregnant, that is already, the spiritual process is already in motion, because now that spirit of that child, the soul of the child, the spirit of the child is now grounding, and is grounding in this woman's womb, and now it's gestating, it's growing. This child is now growing, developing into who this child is meant to be. So this child is already getting in tune again with their spirit and their soul while they are in the womb of their mother. So when a child, from what I've been told, when a soul decides that they want to incarnate here on earth, they want to, whether this is their first lifetime or this is, how many ever lifetimes they've been here, they choose their parents and they choose to come during this specific time, meaning their soul is ready. Their soul is ready with lessons that they want to learn or things they want to explore, things that they want to do, things that they want to bring to the earth, to the Earthside. So when that child determines their parents, because again, it's a choice, that child is choosing those parents for a specific reason, to help this child grow, develop, and learn their lessons the way that they need to learn their lessons. So it's a very spiritual contract, a very spiritual connection between the mother, the father, and this child. So when a person is called to be a parent, that is something that should not be taken lightly. That is something that should not be seen as just something to do. Part of Like, for example, if you are called to be a parent, that is one of the highest callings that you could receive here on earth. Not only did this beautiful soul choose you to be their guide here on earth, because that's essentially what you are. You are an earth guide to the soul, to this child. Not only are you an earth guide, but you are also called by the higher power, whatever you want to say, the universe, higher power, source, God, spirit. You are being called to lead this child, to support this child, to love this child, to protect this child, to give this child the resources, the knowledge, the wisdom, all those things. It's a spiritual contract, a spiritual covenant. And this is why, again, this is one of the highest callings to receive here on earth. So this, again, is not something that should be taken lightly or should be viewed as, okay, having a child, all right. Again, it's a beautiful thing, but it's not something, what I'm saying is like, this is something that should be taken seriously and something that should be treasured and honored and seen as a gift and not something of an inconvenience, not something you're locked in for 18 years or something that you just have to get through or to deal with. It should be seen as a very high calling and a blessing and a gift, because this child, you also, again, you have that spiritual contract with this child where this child is going to teach you, stretch you, expand you, help you to grow and become your best self, while you are helping this child to become their best selves. So it's very spiritual. And the more that we integrate that, the more we can see what our children are teaching us, what our children are showing us, what our children represent, and what they're giving to us the same way we give to them. Because when we have relationships, they are, regardless of who you are in a relationship with, platonic, familial, romantic, it doesn't matter, a coworker or a work relationship, work partnership, is supposed to be equal give and take. Equal give and take, where there's a balance of energy exchange. Okay? So when you are a parent, although it may feel like you are constantly giving, this child is also giving to you. Allow yourself to receive it. Allow yourself to connect. Allow yourself to receive what this child is trying to show you, teach you, and give to you. Because children represent unconditional love. When they are born, they're born from a place of unconditional love, regardless of the circumstances for how this child came into the world. Children come into the world representing unconditional love, representing purity, representing divinity, representing miracles. Oftentimes, like, we'll say miracle baby, or, this child wasn't supposed to survive. But really, all children are miracles. All children are blessings. And some people may not connect with that, but that is the truth. So when a child is in a mother's womb, growing, developing, that is a very pivotal time for the mother and the child to spiritually connect, to spiritually bond. Of course, that child will bond and connect with the father. But since the feminine energy is represented with the spiritual realm, as I channel the type of wisdom that I have integrated, is the feminine energy is more connected with the spiritual realm. Okay, with that, the intuition and the water and, things like that. The masculine energy is more connected with earth on the ground, that grounding energy, that, you know, um, that stable, that reasonable energy, right? That's more the masculine energy. So that's why the child will connect with the father more. Of course, the child can connect with the father, of course, in the womb as well, but more directly when that child comes to the earth. That's why it's typically best for the father to be the first person to really greet that child. Of course, you know, again, with the birthing process, that's going to be different for everyone. But if the father is there to connect with that child immediately when this child is born, that's a best practice, because now the relationship is now really directly connecting spiritually for the child and the father, okay? But back to the mother connecting with the child within the womb. The mother is now nurturing the child, giving to the child, singing to the child, feeding the child. You know, the child is receiving everything from the mother while the child is in the womb of the mother. And not only is the child receiving things like physically, as far as like water and food and stuff like that, but also the other parts of like healing, connection, love, nurturance, physical touch. Even though it's like the child's in the womb, the child can feel the vibration when the mother is rubbing her stomach, or, you know, holding herself, giving, you know, kind of like cradling herself, and the child could feel that energy. Okay, so all of these things are building that connection, which is spiritual, because it starts the baby. Even though the baby is physically in the womb, the spirit is connecting, the souls are connecting. Okay, so when the child is ready to come earthside, this is where there's a huge transition. This is why the birthing process can be considered so traumatic. And not only traumatic, but dramatic, because it dramatically shifts everything. It changes everything. You know, once a child is born, that's a huge change. A new life is coming here to earth, to parents or a parent or a family. Everything is going to change. So when a child does come to the earth, that is the mother spiritually connecting with her higher self to now allow this baby to come earthside, to now take the baby and bring the baby from the spiritual realm to the earth. Because when the child is in the womb, this child is still in the in-between. This child is still in the spiritual realm, but the child is developing and growing and still grounding. So the child is still, again, it's on earth, but it's still in the spiritual realm at the same time. It's a very unique process, okay? And this is why, unfortunately, some children don't survive birth, or some mothers don't survive birth, because it is very spiritual. You are literally going to the other side to bring this child to the earth. A mother is, during the process of delivery. You are literally leaving your body to physically receive your child, to bring your child and yourself back down to the earth, back down to the ground, to come into form. Literally, is that deep. And I think that because of the way that society has programmed us to believe about children being born, and the way that some people look at children is just an added expense. You know, that's how some people view children now. And again, I'm not saying that that's not the reality of the situation. Of course, we know with anything costs money these days. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it does cost money to have a child, but children are just viewed as just like a bill, an inconvenience, or something, you know, you have to pay for and be responsible for, something you have to do. And it's so much more deeper than that. And our roles to be with our children, to guide them, is so much more deeper than just paying for them to eat or paying for them for school or buying them clothes and buying them shoes and making sure that they look good. And it's so much deeper than that. Of course, that is a big part. Making sure that they have the things that they need, okay? Of course we need to do that. And that is a big part. But these other parts are also very connected. And it goes a lot deeper than what society has been telling us. And we need to come back to that. We need to come back to, as a collective, where we are being more intentional with family time. We are being more intentional with conversations with our children. Because if we are not talking to our children, the world is going to be talking to them. And that's something that it starts at home first. You know, like when I used to be a teacher, I would tell my parents, it starts at home. It starts with you. I'm going to do my part. You know, I would tell them, like, I'm going to do my part. You do your part. You know, it starts there. You don't want the world teaching your child how to do this and how to say this and how to react to this and that. But going back to the birthing process, I want to share something personal for me, my birthing story, to just go further deeper of how spiritual this really is and how this can really take many dramatic turns. Because again, when a child is coming to the earth, it's traumatic and dramatic. It's both, because it's a huge transformation and a huge shift. So when I was pregnant with my oldest child is 10 now. Sorry, it's just I hope you all cannot hear this. When I cut this video on for this video, it's been so much noise in the hallway. Anyway, so my oldest daughter is 10. Her name's Blair. Hi, Blair. I don't know if you're going to see this video. But when I was pregnant with her, it was really a challenging time for me because I had this idealized vision for how I wanted my pregnancy to be, and it was completely opposite of that. So for me, that was really challenging because in my mind, I thought it would be like this, and it wasn't. It was like at the time, I didn't really understand what was going on. But once again, that contract, my baby, my daughter, was already spiritually working on me, spiritually helping me to align, spiritually connecting with me so I could see my triggers, so I could see what didn't serve me anymore, so I could reevaluate the relationship that I was having with myself, how I talked to myself, how I didn't nurture myself, how I wasn't taking care of myself. She was already starting that, activating that within me. And I struggled with my first pregnancy, really with both pregnancies. I see now where there was so much that wasn't in alignment, and why, because of my idealized version of what I thought it would be, it did not connect with my physical reality, why I felt just like disappointed in some ways. But when I was pregnant with her, it was challenging. My blood pressure was up quite a bit. I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have been. I didn't really know how to take care of myself. Like, now I know how to take care of myself. At that time, I didn't know how to take care of myself. Taking care of myself was really the bare minimum. And so when you're pregnant, you really have to take care of yourself, because it's not just you. You have a baby. So I would rest and things like that, but I was stressed. I was overthinking, worried about things, anxious. So my blood pressure was up quite a bit while I was pregnant. And when I went to the doctor for like it was like a weekly checkup because I was close to my due date, or I was at my due date or something like that. Yeah, I think it was at the due date. And so now the doctor is like, oh, you're dilated. It's time to go check in at the hospital. And I had planned, even though it was like near I think it was a week off from my due date. I wasn't planning on having her. Like, I was like, I mean, I know the baby could come at any time, but I'm like, what? What do you mean check in? Like, this is happening now? Like, I was really in shock. I didn't even know I was dilated. Like, I didn't realize. I mean, I didn't feel it, any of that. So now it's time to go check in at the hospital. And again, I'm anxious. I'm nervous. My water broke. I thought I had peed on myself, but they were like, no, your water broke. Because I was like, oh my God, I peed on myself. What is going on? And they were like, oh, your water broke. And I was like, oh, okay. So my blood pressure was really high, and they had to put me on medication. They said, you know, I had preeclampsia. So they had already been saying that I was kind of like on that borderline of getting preeclampsia because my blood pressure was up for quite a few months, but I wasn't diagnosed with that. But on the day that I checked in, they diagnosed me with preeclampsia. And I'm like, okay, like, here we go. What does this mean? Like, so now I'm on this blood pressure medication, and, you know, they have me hooked up to all this stuff, and they have me on this oxygen thing. And that's scary because I had never been in the hospital. And I'm just like worried and stuff like that. So it got really dramatic again. It was like I was throwing up, which is something that I do a lot. Like when my body needs to purge, I vomit. So it wasn't like I was really alarmed by that, but I was vomiting. My blood pressure was going up, then it was down. Then when I moved, it was like trying to get comfortable. Blair's heartbeat was dropping, and then, so it was really dramatic. Like, I mean, like, I remember turning one time and all these monitors went off, and then the doctors rushed in, and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, it was so dramatic with everything that was going on. I couldn't eat anything. I felt very weak. I was really worried, really anxious. I shouldn't have been worried, but I really was, because I didn't know what to expect. So now it's time for me to start, you know, I had the epidural, which, you know, anyway, I wouldn't do that now, but at the time I did it. So I got the epidural, and now it's time to push, and I'm really weak. I'm feeling sick. I don't feel good at all. And again, I'm anxious and I'm worried. So I'm pushing, and at this point, like, I didn't tell anyone this, you know, because I didn't want, you know, to scare my family, like, you know, or anything like that. Like, her dad was in the delivery room and my mom was there. But I mean, and my sister was there too. I'm pushing and I'm going like in and out of consciousness. Like, I literally feel myself, like, I'm literally going, I was going in and out of consciousness. Like, regardless of what those monitors said, the machines, I know I was going in and out of consciousness. And when I would come back, I was like, is she out? And they were just like, no, keep pushing. And so I would push some more. And then it was like I was blacking out again. And I was on oxygen, but I don't know how long I was out. And the reason why, like, I did some healing around this. And so I went into a meditation where I was going back to see myself and to see what was going on and how I was feeling. So when I went back in my meditation, I was able to see things, and my higher self was guiding me. My higher self was the one that broke down to me how going in and out of consciousness like that was me, again, going into the spiritual realm to get Blair, to bring her here, to bring her Earthside. But at the time, you know, I didn't know what was going on. I just remember just blacking out and coming back, and she still wasn't here. Like, I don't know how long I was pushing, But because I was so weak and they wouldn't give me water. Like I couldn't really drink water, or I think I could only like suck on ice chips and maybe a popsicle, and I felt so weak. But at the time, I mean, now I know me purging, me feeling weak like that, and of course, physically, all those things were going on, but I'm talking about the spiritual part, right? That was me releasing. That was me releasing things in my vibration that no longer serve me, releasing thoughts, ideas, even like beliefs that I had about giving birth, or like, can I really do this? Am I strong enough to have this baby? Or, all those type of fear-based thoughts. I was releasing all of that. And something that I've come to find out about myself and I've come to learn about myself is when I am in this place where I feel like I'm weaker, or I'm feeling low energy, or feeling almost like I'm descending, I'm getting ready to go through a big ascension. And that may be the case for some of you. I don't know. We could talk about it in the comments, but I've noticed that within my patterns, like either I'm sick or I'm just going through something, or I feel really low energy, and the next thing you know, I'm ascending into something bigger, okay? So when I'm going in and out of consciousness, when I did the meditation to go back there to heal that, because I had wounding around that, like I had my own personal wounding that was going on. So I needed to heal that. And my higher self showed me how I was going to get Blair from the spiritual realm again to bring her Earthside. But I was afraid. I had a lot of fear, and a lot of fear around, like, again, can I do this? Am I strong enough? So all of these things are very spiritual, because you are now testing yourself. Well, not testing yourself, but this was an opportunity to see your own strength, to see your willpower, to see how this all works and how it all comes to life, okay? And not only is this about you, but it's about the child, because there's a choice to come here. Blair made that choice. She wanted to come here. She wanted to come to Earth. So she chose to come, and I was ready to receive her, although the circumstances were the way that they were. And the thing is, it's like I haven't shared this story like this with me, talking about really going in and out of consciousness like that, because I didn't want to tell people, because I know how energy works. You tell people, and it's that energy starts to get on it. And I didn't want anyone to tell me like, oh, you shouldn't have any more kids, or you shouldn't have any more children and stuff like that. Because when I had my second daughter, Blake, like none of that happened for Blake. I was way more equipped. I wasn't going in and out of consciousness. Nothing like that was going on. Like I was completely alert and awake the whole time. But when you bring children here, whether you are a father or a mother, it is very spiritual. And if you are a father, it is important for you to be there. It is important for you to be, regardless of the situation with you and the mother's child, it's important for you to be there so you can greet that child, so you can put your hands on that child. You can put your energy on that child and connect with that child, and connect with that child spiritually, and spiritually connect and show the child that, like, you're there to protect, you're there to guide, you're there to help. They already have that connection with the mother from being inside the mother's womb. But with the father, it's different. The father, again, is there to greet the child now on the earth side, and to show the child that you will always protected, you will always be guided, you will always be provided for. There's nothing for you to worry about here on the earth. So regardless of how a child comes to the earth, okay, because some children are born, via surrogate, where there's an adoption situation involved. Doesn't matter how you become a parent or how you and your child connect. building that spiritual connection, and it's going to be unique and individual for everyone. Building that spiritual connection with you and your child is so important, because the spiritual part is what is going to carry you through. It's not going to be all about the material. It's not going to be all about that physical. Of course, the material, the physical is very important, but you have to have that spiritual, because if you want to connect with your child on a deeper level, and you want your child to trust you, and you want to trust your child, and you want to unite and unify with your child and work together to learn, grow, and expand. Because again, remember, equal balance energy exchange. The child is not supposed to just keep taking from you and they're not giving anything back. They are going to give to you as well. But it's up for you to receive it and be open to receiving whatever this child has for you. Okay? Because the child has made a contract with you to help you to become your best self, your greatest version. And this child is going to be mirroring back to you the things to help you to get there. And sometimes it is triggering. And sometimes it is annoying. And sometimes it is like, what is going on? But that child is doing what they're supposed to do. And they're helping you just like you help them. So if no one told you they love you today, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for showing up for yourself, loving yourself, honoring yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Continue to heal, continue to grow, continue to expand. Trust yourself, trust your journey. Nurture yourself, be patient with yourself, be understanding with yourself. You're doing an amazing job. I'm proud of you. Please be proud of yourself. I love you. I'll see you next time.